you're writing a letter. Would you like help?
You little metallic.
Can you imagine devoting years and a small fortune developing a piece of software that people eventually hated so much they literally cheered when they figured out how to turn it off? Microsoft's cartoon paperclip with big eyes and endless enthusiasm had one tiny problem. Nobody wanted his help. Meet Clippy, the world's most hated office assistant. His inane interruptions earned him a spot on Time's 50 worst inventions of all time, alongside subprime mortgages, hydrogen blimps, and asbestos. Like, what even is this list? But despite that, I'm going to prove to you why his failure is something every business is at risk of repeating today if they aren't careful. Let's dial up those modems and very slowly boot up 1995. In the mid-90s, computers were brand new for many people and, to put it mildly, intimidating for most. Only about 15% of households owned a PC, and only Macs had a visual interface that's anything like what we're used to today. Microsoft's computer software left many new users sitting frozen at their desks, afraid of breaking something. In usability tests, people literally cried because menus and commands felt too impossible to navigate. Others were too scared to even touch the mouse. It's not an ideal state when you're trying to get computers in every home and business around the world. So the company asked a bold question. How can we make computers less scary? After lots of research and testing, that idea became Microsoft Bob. Released in 1995, Bob turned your PC into a cartoon house. A cheerful dog named Rover and other animated assistants popped up with speech balloons to guide you. The goal wasn't just to be cute. It was to make software approachable, to give people the confidence to interact with tools they didn't yet understand. Bob was meant to teach, to wrap training and guidance in a friendly environment that connected abstract ideas with concrete associations. Want to write a letter? Click on the pen and paper on the desk. Want to balance your bank account? Click the checkbook on the table. It seems logical enough, but of course, Bob flopped hard enough to take up one of the other coveted spots on that 50 worst inventions ever list by Time because adults doing serious work didn't want to manage files in a cartoon living room. Even though Bob was short-lived, the core idea that approachable characters could guide beginners through complex tasks endured. All right, what do you think? Did Microsoft deserve to have both Bob and Clippy really as two of the worst inventions ever, or did they get an unfair rap? Drop your take in the comments. I can't wait to see where you land. And while you're there, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next story of design gone right or hilariously wrong. By the time Office 97 launched, the Bob idea transformed into a specialized character who could appear right inside your work. Start typing "Dear," and that animated assistant sprung to life. Hey, it looks like you're writing a letter. Want me to help? Creating a table he'd wiggle over with formatting tips. It may feel childish and unnecessary looking back, but the whole experience was rooted in real research. Stanford professors Byron Reeves and Clifford Nass had shown that people respond to computers socially, almost as if they were other people. Microsoft leaned in, give users a sidekick, and maybe they'd feel less lost and more supported. They tested thousands of characters with potential users around the world to find the perfect cast. They even got positive feedback from original Disney animators Frank and Ollie on several options, and the overwhelming response was great. Clippy got the top scores for being friendly, helpful, and fun, so he became the default character with about 10 assistants you could choose from. If anyone could figure out how to do that, of course. Your assistant's job was to teach you how to use Office step by step, right when you needed it. It was a smart idea, but the execution, that's where things got bent out of shape. The truth is, for absolute beginners, Clippy essentially worked. If you were staring at a blank page, nervous about even getting started, that little paper clip could give you the nudge you needed. And in that sense, it did solve the problem that Microsoft set out to tackle. So how did Clippy go from clever, research-backed idea to the big-eyed assistant who earned nothing but eye rolls? Here's the issue. Once you got past that very first hurdle, Clippy didn't grow with you. He didn't remember what you learned, he didn't adapt, he just repeated the same suggestions over and over, like a trainer who insists on showing you how to tie your shoes long after you started running. As former Microsoft executive Steven Sinofsky later explained, the assistants were offering the wrong level of support. The team was caught up in features they found exciting, things like mail merges or formatting envelopes on a laser printer, instead of the simple tasks real users actually wanted, like helping them write a better letter. In psychology, this is known as the curse of knowledge. For beginners, empowerment quickly turned to irritation. For everyone else, it crossed the line from useful to unbearable. And once people felt misunderstood and patronized, that annoyance snowballed into absolute rage. Clippy wasn't a failure because of bad intentions or lack of research. He failed because he didn't, 1, go away once he solved the initial problem, or 2, adapt as people got better. Because good design scales with the user. It grows with you, it learns with you, and steps back when it's not needed. Clippy stayed stuck at level 1 while users moved forward, making him more of an anchor than a sidekick. And he really made the story about him. I mean, look at how needy this guy is. Ugh, I'm already annoyed. Can you imagine if that was your experience every time you tried to do anything? No thanks. That mismatch broke trust, and when trust breaks, even the friendliest cartoon face can't save you. To their credit, Microsoft didn't drag this out. Bob lasted less than a year, Clippy under 2. And that's important. In design, sometimes you learn faster by failing faster. And those quick failures left behind lessons that others could build on. Let's compare Clippy to the user experiences of today. Grammarly scaffolds learning without nagging. Google Docs stays quiet until its suggestion is clearly useful. Alexa and Siri wait until you ask. These tools succeed not just because they're clever. They are the byproduct of decades of trial and error. Every quiet suggestion, every opt-in design choice is a lesson carried forward from frustration. But here's what's different. They don't carry the whole burden alone. Today, learning is social. There's YouTube, online communities, dedicated trainers. The ecosystem picks up where the product leaves off. In Clippy's day, that ecosystem didn't exist. He was augmenting a 1,152-page operating manual, which meant all that weight was on that little paperclip's shoulders. In a way, every calm nudge from Grammarly or Alexa is Clippy's afterlife, proof that even failed ideas can leave behind useful lessons. While Clippy actually had a formal retirement, he still didn't take the hint. People hated him, yes, but that strong emotion, over time, it was recycled into nostalgia, turning him into a pop culture icon. Today, Clippy is a meme, an emoji, even a cameo in Halo, proof that sometimes failing loudly makes you unforgettable. So what's the lesson for your business? Don't let your expertise blind you to the real experience. Your knowledge is powerful, but it can also be a trap. The real challenge is designing for where your users are today and where they'll be tomorrow, because good intentions only work if they grow with the journey. Otherwise, your boldest idea could be remembered not as an innovation, but as a paperclip-shaped punchline. I'm Melina Palmer, and until next time, remember to be thoughtful. Hey! It looks like you're watching a YouTube video. Would you like to subscribe? Hey, don't forget about me. Subscribe. Now I'm a bicycle. Subscribe.